Many times in our lives, we come to sense that we are guided in a subtle yet firm way amid our journey on this earthly plane. Although we all perfectly understand the existence of our soul and the way it communicates with our conscious side, the sensation I refer to goes far beyond our internal voice. It's as if, in one way or another, we receive assistance from other types of entities or souls that exist beyond mere sight, as if they rest in realms higher than ours. From these realms, they send messages of love and understanding, but above all, encouragement in the midst of our walk. While some of us are more perceptive than others, these messages and signs that manifest in our lives are impossible to ignore. They reach us with such strength and are laden with a precious and distinct energy that simply shakes everything within us. At times, we encounter events and phenomena that engage our being and confront us with the existence of beings of light who operate on a higher level of consciousness than ours. They seem to have taken on the task of helping us overcome the challenges presented in our journey and our process. These seem to be friendly hands, always ready to lift us up and guide us with unwavering selflessness, consistency, and love amid our journey. As challenging as it may be to grasp this idea, it is something that great minds have explored throughout time, and its explanation may lie in aspects more distant from science and closer to the spiritual realm. Therefore, even though many may be reluctant to accept it, it is a fact that we are not alone in the universe. Amidst it, there are beings of light seeking to help the souls of the earth in a selfless manner. These are known as spiritual guides and represent a constant support group for every being on earth. We all have our own spiritual guides who care about our development and growth. In pivotal moments of our lives, they come to us to deliver the most important messages. Perhaps you recall at some point feeling like someone is reaching out to you. And that's why today, I want us to embark on a journey to recognize those signs indicating that these wonderful guides are around us, seeking to establish a channel of communication with us. The knowledge we'll be sharing will center around the valuable lessons of Dolores, who, over her many years as a researcher and hypnotherapist, delved into the depths of the soul and its role as a receptor for messages from higher dimensions and beings of superior consciousness.
So from now on, pay close attention, because nothing is a coincidence, and you may have arrived here to become aware of the valuable interaction these guides are seeking to have with you.
Number 1. Strong hunches and intuitive feelings. One of the main signals that these spiritual guides give us is the sudden appearance of strong hunches, or that voice called intuition, gently guiding us through the most important moments of our lives. This voice should not be confused with the voice of the soul, which, although also manifested as intuition, opens the channel for our spiritual guides to help us navigate in a harmonious and balanced way. Often, we tend to downplay this voice or even confuse it with the analytical and conscious part of our being, regarding what it says as mere information generated by the impression of the moment. But beyond the impression that may exist in us about these voices and hunches, there is a divine message from elevated beings who, from the moment of our birth, seek to help our soul cope with each trial of the journey we face. The level of knowledge and wisdom that permeates these beings is simply superior to what the limits of consciousness recognize. Therefore, what they propose through their messages often seems a bit far-fetched, leading, with the unfolding of events, to a perfect understanding of the connection between that intuitive thought and what manifested in reality. These messages can be quite anticipatory, aiming not only to guide our soul, but also to protect our being and integrity from the events and phenomena that unfold on our journey. Neither earthly limits nor mental barriers can restrict the messages we receive from our spiritual guides, as their ability to approach us and help us foresee certain aspects of our lives is simply marvelous. The light with which these messages are imbued is so great that it can illuminate the darkest corners of our reality, revealing things that await us in the shadows, things we must face with courage and an open mind for growth. The capacity to receive and interpret these messages from our spiritual guides is intrinsic to each human being. However, few give value to this information that reaches their being. Yet, being able to attend to and process this voice and the messages it brings implies that the person will have full access to the higher knowledge harbored by these spiritual guides. An essential part of our journey is opening ourselves to understanding and accepting true knowledge, one that doesn't always come through conventional means, but invariably involves an expansion of our level of consciousness. Number 2. The occurrence of significant coincidences and synchronicities. Humans often perceive the appearance of small events aligning perfectly with their experiences or the information they need. However, these events are not casual or repetitive. They emerge as flashes of light in the midst of our journey and represent the most important messages from the universe. Even though our soul may not be consciously aware of the energies and their management in the universe, these events can still appear in its journey. Besides serving as small nudges from the universe, they can carry within them the most beautiful messages. These messages, signs and indications are often conveyed by our spiritual guides, who use every possible channel of communication to make our being aware and steer it away from what may affect it. In some cases, rather than distancing you from what might pose a tough challenge, these guides aim to take you by the hand and help you navigate through this turning point where the universe and destiny ask you to advance to the next level of consciousness. We must understand that just as our souls navigate this plane in pursuit of evolution and internal growth, the interest of these spiritual guides is that you achieve every one of your purposes. Our goals are nothing more than objectives aligned with the true purpose of our soul, which carries a much greater energetic load than we sometimes comprehend. That's why these guides will assist us in achieving each of our objectives and prepare our souls to fulfill the mission entrusted to them, an alignment with collective interests and well-being. In a magnificent way, these messages and guidance provided by our spiritual guides are not only directed towards us, but also towards collective well-being and that collective consciousness of which we are all a part. Each and every one of us is part of a unity, unconsciously seeking a much greater goal than we have set for our lives. Amidst this grand task, we are not alone or abandoned. Besides being accompanied by the millions of souls who, like us, partake in this human experience, we also have the divine presence and that of these beings of light who have lovingly and compassionately taken on the role of guides. Learning to see these small coincidences as part of a much larger message is often the key to opening ourselves to receive the information and guidance that our being so desperately needs to fulfill the tasks assigned in these various stations of learning and preparation. Number 3. Ideas and thoughts that emerge and become persistent. As we already know, the human mind possesses a profound ability to receive messages from the universe. It can serve as a receptor for divine guidance and messages, but at the same time can also pick up information coming from our spiritual guides. Beyond mere obsession, it is incredible to see how, at times, a series of ideas, thoughts, and propositions emerge in our minds that seem to go completely against our usual line of thinking, as if they have been magically placed upon us. In reality, this is our being receiving messages of love, compassion, and guidance from our spiritual guides, who are present at all times and use every possible channel to convey the information we need to our conscious side. A key characteristic of these thoughts is precisely how different they can be from what we consider habitual or good. They are isolated ideas that often seem unrelated to the things we experience. However, if we pay a bit of attention over the course of days, we will perfectly understand how everything connects in a perfect way. Understanding that some messages may arrive in advance, prompting us to take necessary precautions for the upcoming period of transformation. Although these thoughts and ideas may sometimes foretell challenging events for the individual, learning to interpret them should not be used as a means to evade what is to come. Remember that our souls are on a journey in this earthly plane, seeking the direct evolution and refinement of the self. Rather than a free pass, these ideas should be seen as the voice of an ally offering support. When facing projects and stages of life that are challenging, the way these pieces of information present themselves in our minds can represent a rough sketch of the most feasible path to take. This is never meant to prevent us from developing the necessary ideas and discernment on our own to emerge victorious. Learning to differentiate between our analytical side and the ideas and thoughts transmitted by our spiritual guides undoubtedly opens the door to knowledge, wisdom, and the reception of all those tools that are so important and necessary in the journey of our soul. Let's be objective when evaluating the origin of our ideas and thoughts, for in them we can find a clear sign of how our guides accompany us and do not forsake us at any stretch of our wonderful journey, finding solace in moments of difficulty. Number 4. Visions and dreams with profound symbolism and meaning. Among the various means the universe and our guides have to interact with us, we encounter dreams and visions that, in many instances, help our being better understand the events taking place in our lives. These visions can be highly detailed, assisting the person in predicting what is approaching in their life. They can manifest both in dreams and as visions in ordinary moments. Just imagine for a second being in the middle of your work or regular activities, and suddenly your mind starts to paint a hypothetical scenario, one that may represent the near future of your life, aligning with a deep desire or some necessary step to attain it. This is part of the experience when one embraces these visions, a clear sign that these spiritual guides are trying to contact you and even encourage you not to falter along the way. It's crucial not to dismiss these experiences as delusions caused by other mental conditions, as the way these visions arrive is sudden yet harmonious. Remember that if the vision doesn't depict a clear picture, it's essential to evaluate the symbolic aspect of each element it comprised. This allows us to open ourselves to the messages of wisdom, knowledge, and encouragement that these guides offer. Another way in which they also show us part of the things for which we must be prepared is through dreams, which open an even more complete window to the reception of this information. Dolores Cannon, in the midst of her research, spoke of us as multidimensional beings, capable of jumping from one dimension to another, and thus exploring the infinite realms that exist, absorbing from each the information it has to offer. Similarly, we are sensitive to the beings that inhabit each of these realms, which can communicate with us and share the wisdom that adorns them. Among these beings, we also find our guides because they are, in reality, entities from higher realms that possess a vast amount of knowledge. They share this knowledge with us with the aim of collaboratively bringing about a change in the lives of those they dare to guide. It is proportional to each individual's contribution to the consciousness shift sought for humanity. That's why we should view these dreams as moments of deep connection with our guides, as a small glimpse of what is going to manifest in our reality. They can also foretell stages of joy, fortune, or moments when it is advisable to exercise caution when making important decisions. Number 5. Sensing a presence or sudden change in energy. To reach the halfway point on our list, we must talk a bit about the soul's ability to perceive things beyond sight, as it can respond to energetic stimuli that are not visible. When addressing this specific point, some may become uneasy or frightened, as they immediately interpret it as a moment when an intimidating or dangerous presence is approaching. However, the truth is quite different from this imaginary scenario that many envision. The truth is that our spiritual guides are beings filled with love and compassion, providing the greatest support that our souls allow us to accept. The level of communication and assistance we receive depends on the level of consciousness we develop and our ability to accept and embrace the wisdom that emanates from them. There are occasions when, by being completely open to receiving their support, they choose to make their presence felt in our physical space. Although they cannot be seen, they can be perceived by our being. Remember that the soul has the ability to react to the stimuli of the environment, just as it does in the presence of other souls or beings of light. Like us, they can jump from one dimension to another to acquire and carry knowledge. This experience can feel like a sudden warmth or comfort that envelops us without any apparent reason. Some may discover it as a tingling sensation that seems to take over our body. But even more beautiful than that is how they emotionally describe it, capable of awakening deep and powerful feelings of love, happiness, and a sense of familiarity with the environment in which we operate. This is considered a small sample of what these souls have to offer us, from selflessness, unconditional love, to a profound understanding of the being and the processes it may go through. One factor that never ceases to amaze many is the infinite empathy characterizing these beings, who remarkably abide by the principles of unity, compassion, and above all, infinite love and forgiveness. We must understand that these are the same principles that govern the higher realms than ours, and to which we aspire from the idea of a consciousness leap into a new dimension. Currently, most of us inhabit this third dimension, where we have been accustomed to believing in individualism and the importance of superficial aspects. In contrast, the fifth dimension we aspire to has the unity of souls as its foundation and empowers only the most spiritual aspects of being. It understands that everything material will inevitably detach from us and our inner selves. Number 6. Messages channeled through nature and natural elements. For many, the idea of nature and its connection to the spiritual realm is not well understood. They may view it merely as a part of the earth. However, nature and the energy it radiates can be appreciated as a significant source of well-being for humanity as a whole. Additionally, it serves as a channel for the flow of that marvelous energy used as a language among souls, realms, and beings. Considering that these beings of light, serving as our spiritual guides, are aligned with the highest vibrations and purest energies, it's not surprising to think that they are closely connected to nature, using it to make their presence known. We can observe how, through natural elements such as plants and animals, these precious beings let us know they are present for us, ensuring that we are not alone at any stretch of our journey. Another important aspect of nature used by our guides to grab our attention is undoubtedly natural phenomena. These events commonly present a scene where they are accepted, but when they appear unexpectedly, they seem to convey something beyond the simple beauty of the natural world. The possibilities of communication seem endless when it comes to these precious guides who always accompany us on our path. Anything aligned with the highest vibrational frequencies and communication with the soul will not be wasted. Everything is always taken advantage of to transmit messages of love and support. Perhaps the mystery remains about how these guides contact us through natural elements. Therefore, I will present some scenarios that may be manifesting in your reality, indicating that your guides are trying to convey valuable information. Events such as chance encounters with animals can be one of these signs. While some places are known for certain types of animals, there are spaces where it is uncommon to come face to face with them or a specific type. Others suggest that the repeated appearance of the same animal in different settings can signify a strong attempt at communication from our spiritual guides. In this context, we can mention the sighting of a specific type of butterfly, bird, or domestic animal in various places we have visited. Lastly, the occurrence of events or natural phenomena at crucial moments can also be another beautiful way in which your guides, through natural elements, are trying to grab your attention. In this regard, we can cite the sudden appearance of a rainbow or a gentle drizzle during a period when precipitation is not regular. Number 7. Listening to your guide deep within yourself. This point may be closely associated with certain aspects we have already explained, but it is important to understand that those who are more willing to listen to the messages of their guides can develop the ability to hear them within themselves. It may seem crazy, or it may scare and confuse many, as we know that the inner voice represents the will and expression of our soul, sometimes referred to as intuition. However, there is a delicate difference that, although difficult for many to perceive, is clear to others. If you ever feel that you have silenced this voice or chosen to ignore it to the point where it disappeared, you can rest assured because, as mentioned before, these guides are elevated beings governed by principles different from ours, with love and compassion being among the main ones. Not the same level of love or compassion as we understand it here, but rather a kind that transcends all barriers and is at times as unconditional as a parent's love for us. Therefore, even if we have silenced that voice of our guides at some point, we can re-establish the connection with them with a bit of commitment and inner work. Although for many, trying to listen and accept that internal voice representing their soul is quite challenging, accepting that a spiritual guide may echo their voice within themselves can be terrifying. But even though many still feel afraid to accept the existence of these spiritual guides, they never cease to be present, offering with much love and selflessness the wisdom they possess about the universe and the journey of souls. This voice can be identified as distinct from one's own, gently whispering love and tenderness, reminding us of what we need to keep in mind in the moment and place we find ourselves. Not only that, but it also offers encouragement and comfort in the most complex situations. Even if your soul may feel fear, imagine for a moment that in those times when you feel you can't talk to anyone else but God, there is someone who knows perfectly what you are going through. With love and compassion, they whisper the most beautiful words to you. The right words at the right time can completely change a person's reality, imbuing them with the energy needed to overcome obstacles and even altering the way they perceive life. Although people may often fall into moments of deep discouragement, feeling they will never overcome the trials of destiny and reach the coveted goal, our guides are prepared for these moments. They possess the knowledge and understanding of what to do to uplift that soul again. These beings, along with God and the universe, make the perfect team to ensure your soul never falters, even in the most complex situations, as part of their purpose is represented by the contribution they make to souls as a unity, working from an individual perspective. Number 8. Encountering objects and symbols with profound meaning for the individual. In addition to everything we've seen about how our guides can work for our benefit and our process, it's impressive for many to understand how simple things can help convey their presence. Many people struggle to find a logical explanation for how even small objects can manifest in a person's reality to comfort their being and alleviate any feelings of despair or doubt they may harbour. Small details like minimal, common objects that simply appear before our eyes can be seen by people as mere coincidences, as our souls walk through them. But if there's one thing that's certain, it's that coincidences don't exist. Rather, what exists are meaningful events. Within this vast universe, everything has an origin and a purpose. There's simply nothing that can be said to have been randomly selected to manifest in the reality that surrounds us. That's why we must open our minds and souls to a slightly deeper interpretation of the events that envelop us, which in one way or another might be orchestrated by higher energies and more elevated beings of light. It's important to understand that these small objects we're referring to may seem quite ordinary from the perspective of others. However, for someone immersed in this particular process, they become symbolic and powerful, almost as if the entire universe were affirming that you will overcome everything that concerns you and that you are not alone. Thinking that we are alone or somehow not supported is a strong disregard for these valuable beings called guides. They stay by our side, helping us cope with moments of deep fear, anger, sadness, and anxiety, all with love and compassion. Often we find ourselves immersed in situations that occupy us, forgetting to look at things from a more spiritual and precious angle. It is precisely in these moments that this precious channel of communication operates. Something as simple as a coin, a crystal, a pendant, or even a key can give us an additional boost. It's as if our guides were shouting at us not to give up. Many people interpret these small object appearances as affirmations. This is not the only aspect covered in this point. Through symbols, we may also be receiving calls to attention from our guides. These symbols can even be sequences of numbers that hold great significance for an individual due to the message they convey through numerology. Having a closed-minded view of this point inevitably means missing out on some messages that are seeking to reach our lives. Number 9. The sensation of comfort and solace that appears suddenly. Beyond what has already been explained, it is important to acknowledge our soul's ability to reveal to us, through sensations, the nature of things and individuals that surround us, even if they have no earthly connection with us. Let's take a moment to remember that our soul can even recognize the energy of other souls that have shared moments with us at any point in our journey, even if it hasn't been in our current incarnation. This is an innate ability within each of us, and it is largely unknown due to the lack of awareness regarding the potential of our soul and our being in general. Moreover, it extends beyond recognizing souls similar to ours and encompasses all beings of light, despite their different vibrations and frequencies. And when we perceive these energy fluctuations in our environment, our soul's response can be marked by powerful sensations that emanate from the deepest part of us, including precisely that of comfort and security. It's as if, in one way or another, our being is receiving solace during those periods when everything seems hopeless, which often coincide with times of difficulty and challenges. When, all of a sudden, we experience an apparent calm and great optimism about what lies ahead, we could undoubtedly be facing one of those ways in which our guides communicate powerfully without the need for words or other forms of expression. Just imagine, for a brief moment, being able to enjoy incredible peace simply by allowing yourself to receive the profound love and understanding that your guides can offer. This sense of peace cannot be explained from any other perspective, as a key characteristic is the way it manifests sporadically and unexpectedly, making it impossible to attribute to any earthly aspect. Number 10. Experiencing the sensation of receiving guidance or assistance. To conclude this list, we must address one of the strongest signs when it comes to determining if you are being contacted by your spiritual guides, and that is nothing less than the sensation of receiving guidance from a higher level. This is perhaps one of the most challenging points to understand, because with the same strength it presents, it is also perceived with equal difficulty. But why does this happen? Often, the ego plays a fundamental role in determining whether information comes from external sources or is generated from our own knowledge and cleverness. In our desire to be intelligent and astute, we only manage to blur the thin line between our own discernment and the reception of assistance from beings of light. Although what truly matters is the soul's growth, we often err by wanting to showcase progress beyond what we might actually have. This diminishes the influence of our spiritual guides, causing our being to be programmed not to believe in the existence of higher energies and entities. An integral part of our soul's journey is learning to accept the universe and how it moves and operates, understanding that we are not alone. With a genuine willingness to understand and seek true knowledge, we can receive the light, wisdom, and well-being that the universe has to offer. When we manage to open ourselves to all these aspects, life magically begins to change for our benefit. We open the door to true knowledge and all the benefits that stem from it. One of the main advantages is undoubtedly experiencing the support of our guides in a conscious and total manner. The key to fully opening the door to the light and support these guides have for us lies in our consciousness and willingness. Things like those little flashes of joy, optimism, and confidence powerfully capture people's attention from a conscious standpoint. When we combine this with synchronicities, the appearance of objects, and a sense of trust, what we have is an undeniable event in our reality. Moreover, if we continue to add those dreams, which in many cases are premonitory, It is clear that our soul is receiving the most valuable collaboration and the most significant energetic support imaginable. These are moments and manifestations that lead us to understand that the universe is simply vast and wonderful. Within it, energetic threads weave in a much more complex way than we sometimes believe. That's why it's important to open ourselves to deeper and more spiritual interpretations of things. If we stick to the simple, we deny our soul the possibility of being bathed in knowledge, positive energy, and light, as is characteristic of those spiritual guides who are there, ready to bless our lives and cover them with wisdom. And if you consider, after hearing all this, that you are being contacted by your guides, I invite you to visit the comments section and share your experience. In this space, everyone has a voice and something important to say. If you enjoyed my content, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for our upcoming encounters. I will be delighted to have you join me on another occasion. Until then, I send you blessings.